Hey, Alpha here. Welcome to the ABT Coaching Bloom series again. And today is another episode. And today I promise you guys it's gonna be a classic. And I don't need to say much today because I'm so excited. And this has been my feeling from since the series started, and I've been enjoying it. It's a long journey. I've come a far way, and today is the 46th episode. Today, here with me on the show, we have Arun Sharif. Arun, say hello to the viewers.
Hello, viewers.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm welcome again to the show, and I want to use this opportunity to say thank you because so you have a busy schedule and you make time for this show. But before we start the whole thing for today's episode, let me use the opportunity to say thank you to the connections on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. You guys have been with me since day one, and it has been impressive. Now, I want tell the viewers about yourself.
Okay, good evening once again, and thank you very much, Timbo, for having me on your platform. My name is Harun Sharif. I am the communications coordinator for the Justice Sector Coordination Office, and I also serve as the publicity secretary for the Humanora Foundation.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You mentioned the Humanora Foundation. Um, viewers out there, this is going to be an interesting episode. Now, Aun, you've been to Sierra Leone system. I'm talking about the education and you growing up, having the humble growing up, which I'm aware of. But I want you to tell us about your highlights while you're growing up. Which things stand out for you?
Thank you very much, Timbo. First of all, I must acknowledge the fact that I was born to a very beautiful family. That is the Sharif family. The name of my dad is Mr. Patrick Anthony Sharif, deceased, and my mom is Baby Pista, commonly called the Mamina Power. And I have six brothers and two sisters. I also have a beautiful daughter. Her name is Hamira Aminata Sharif. And humbly, I must say, I grew up in an extended family. I was privileged to attend the More Reading Preparatory School. In the 90s, it was probably the best school in town. And also, I was opportune as well to attend the Sierra Leone Grammar School. Timo, I think you need not ask me. That is probably the best school in Freetown, the best school in Freetown. And pursuing my academics, I went to Furabe College. I did history and politics, and upon graduation, I decided to do my master's degree in the United Kingdom, specifically Reading University. I studied master's in diplomacy. I spent about 6 years in the UK and then came back to Freetown. When I came back to Freetown, I started working for an NGO, and that was Team Up for Justice. I spent about 3 years, and I decided also, because by then in 2014, the mining industry was booming. You can attest to that. So I decided to enroll at IPAM to do a postgraduate diploma in mines management. I wanted to get a feel or to get a grasp of what was happening in the mining sector. So I completed that, and then I started my career. So I worked again for a few years with Team Up for Justice, and then moved to government. I worked for the NRA for 5 months, and then moved to the Public Sector Reform Unit. When I moved to the Public Sector Reform Unit, I was the communications officer. I then moved to a much more senior position, that is a communications analyst. And then I spent 5 years at Public Sector Reform Unit, where I gathered a lot of experience, but we'll talk about that later. So currently, as it is, I am the communications coordinator for the Justice Sector Coordination Office. So
Ah,
basically, that's how I have moved so far in life.
when those were like so many highlights, and I love the part where you spoke about you doing the postgraduate course because you noticed that the mining sector was booming. Okay, now someone will ask, where do you like get all those motivation from? Because that's a difficult thing. Because you can attest to it, like the youth coming up now in life, they struggle to find things to self motivate them and for them to like move on to take the next venture in their life. But I really want to know like what keeps you motivated.
Thank you very much, Timbo. That is a very interesting question. Initially, when I was growing up, I had no clue that I was going to be a communications specialist. I'll tell you what happened. In 2014, during the Ebola, I actually traveled to the United States, but I have a very close friend of mine who is called Mohammed Kake. Um, Basically, he was working for the Public Sector Reform Unit by then. So I was going through a lot of challenges whilst I was with Team Up for Justice. So, but by then I was in the United States, and I woke up one morning. I saw a text message from him saying, "Haun, there's this vacancy in my office for a communications officer." At first when I looked at it, I was like, "What is Mohammed saying?" He knows my background. He knows I haven't got any clue when it comes to communications. And then I picked up the phone and then I called him. I said, "Mohammed, listen, I saw your text message." I said, "But you know I haven't got any clue when it comes to communication." He said, "Listen, Harun, you don't need to limit yourself. I know you. You're my friend. You can do whatever you want to do. Just put in that application." And then I said to him, "Really?" He said, "Yes, just do it." So I sat down to myself. Imagine I was on holidays. Well, I wouldn't say holidays because it was a difficult period for the world by then, or for Sierra Leone, if I should say, because we were going through the Ebola crisis. So I sat down, did a cover letter, put in the application, and then I applied. So, to my greatest surprise, I came back to town after 6 months. I got a telephone call from the director, um, Madam Sidratu Kuruma by then. And she said, "Oh, Mr. Sharif, how are you?" I said, "Oh, I'm fine, thank you." She said, "You applied for the position of a communications officer a while back." I said, "Yes, yes, yes, yes." And then she said, "Okay, you're invited for an interview." So I went for the interview. It was very interesting. So I did my normal routine, hard work, prepared very well, because as the saying goes, for me, all game in a final. So I called Kake. We had a usual chat, and then he gave me some guidelines. I prepared. I went for the interview. But the interesting part for me, Timbo, was after the interview, I got a call from the director again, and she said to me, "Harun, um, this is what's going to happen. You did not come first in the interviews. There's another gentleman who did well, but you also did well, but he has a lot of experience when it comes to communications." He said, "But I'm willing to offer you another position." Then I said to her, "Okay, that's fine, but let me think about it." And then she said to me, "Okay, I'll send you the terms of reference. Go through it and let's have a conversation." Then I said, "Okay." So she sent it to me. I looked at it, but by then I was working for the National Revenue Authority. I had only spent about 3 or 4 months. So we looked at the TOR, myself and Mohammed, the gentleman I mentioned earlier. And then he said to me, "Oh, this is a very good opportunity." But Timbo, let me tell you, as God could have it, the next day I had another call from the director again. And then she said to me, "Harun, the gentleman did not take the offer. So I'm willing to offer you the position you applied for." I said, okay, that's fine. So I was shocked, but I said, let me get to you back, mom. And she said, okay, I'll give you an appointment. Just call me back when you're ready. So as soon as I dropped the phone, I called Mohammed and I explained to him, I said, this is the situation. And then Mohammed said to me, listen, I told you, don't miss this opportunity. So I sat down to myself, I spoke to my mom, and I have my brother in the UK. I spoke to him, and then he said to me, listen, go for it, take it. So I called the director of PSRE by then. I spoke to her. We agreed on an appointment. And then I went to have a one-on-one interview with her. So we spoke, and that's why it all started, Timbo. So it started from a simple text message from my friend. And since 2015 to now, I have graduated to a level of being a communications coordinator within the public sector. So, what I
Okay.
want to say, or what I want to emphasize here, is that as individuals or as youth, there are no boundaries, there are no limitations. Life offers you opportunities. All you have to do is get ready and then grab them. So, since 2015 to now, that's how I've come. That's how far I've come to see myself as a communications coordinator for the Justice Sector Coordination Office.
Thank you. That's so insightful. What I love about that thing is like you never give up, and you treat every situation like I won't say do or die, but like you take it seriously. Now, when it comes to our society, the way the education system is being programmed, the corporations, the way they are programmed, someone will be out there and they look at this program and will say like, probably our own is lucky. Okay, you may not know that the work that you are putting since like you were a kid growing up. So for that reason, Arun, how did you align your passion with your purpose? Because that's so important. And people nowadays they don't look at the opportunities or the gifts in this life, and they don't even know that they are living in the information age, wherein opportunities are endless. It all depends on what you can, how you can work, how you can put in the work, and then grab it when they come, when they present themselves. So, how did you align your passion and purpose?
As I said to you earlier, Timbo, I think finding myself in the field of communication, or to a very large extent in the field of public relations, has has been from a single text message I got from a friend. But I'd like to also borrow the words from Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps is an American guy. He's a swimmer. He once said, "There will be doubters, there will be mistakes, but hard work, the end result of hard work would be success." That's what I've practiced. I'm not the smartest, but I tell you, Timbo, hard work pays a lot.
Hmm.
Whatever I put my mind to, with the help of the Almighty, I get it. So, with your question for the youths, I'll tell you, as I said earlier on, there are no limitations, there are no boundaries. As human beings, we create our own limitations. We create our own limitations for ourselves. So, for me as an individual, I see myself going to places with all humility, because I believe in hard work and I've been resilient for the past 30 years of my life. So I want to say to the youth that hard work pays. Believe in yourself. You have to trust yourself. You have to be true to yourself. If you're true to yourself, there's nothing that can stop you. Or there's it's we don't have boundaries. We create our own boundaries, Timbo. That's what we need to understand as human beings. I'll tell you about Jack Ma, also from China. He didn't get the best education, but today he's the richest guy, one of the richest guys in the world. And it comes with hard work, perseverance, resilience. Whatever you put your mind to, you can get if you want to, with the help of the Almighty. I think that has been my bedrock. That doesn't mean I'm the most religious, but I believe when I speak to the Almighty Allah, He provides direction. He provides me with the things I need. So for me, that has been my foundation.
That's I won't. That's insightful, and what I like about that particular statement is the when you mention humility. You know, humility will take you to places. Okay, and when you talk about it, because the topic today is like changing the narratives. We all can create our own narratives for ourselves, but sometimes we are stuck with the negative thoughts, which they are like ever present. But it depends on how you have to work with them and shift the mindset for you to think positively. Now, for me, I believe in like the secret to you identifying your ideas. It's like you're triggering the narrative reset in your mind, wherein your brain is like programmed for you to have negative thoughts. But once you can move out of that particular situation, you force yourself to create those thoughts process wherein you say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to work with my passion and your purpose, just like you said it. Okay. And it comes with so many sacrifices. Like you have to like be humble, you have to put in the work, and you have to take responsibility. You don't stop playing the blame games. Okay. And don't read the junk stories, because the internet now with this information age, everything's out there. But it depends on what you can read, what you can lay your hands on. And so, just like you have stopping or avoiding eating junk foods, it's the same thing. Like you have to know what you consume within yourself. So, without saying that one, I won't. The youths, they are struggling now to find career pathways. You and I are like probably lucky because we went to the industrial age. Then we are now in the information age. We met people like because of our humility, we met people like who guide us along the line, and we say we are successful now because we know exactly what we are doing. Now there are youth out there who don't know how to walk through the career pathways. What advice could you give to them?
Thank you very much, Timbo. That is very interesting. The advice to youth. Let me paraphrase Michelle Obama. She once said, whether you're from a state, you're from a, an estate, success. The word success will be determined by the amount of confidence and fortitude you have. So what I would like to say to the youths, like I said initially, there are no boundaries. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you can do anything you want to do as long as you're determined, you're focused, and you have the willingness. There's a saying that the Almighty God created us in His own image and likeness. Don't get me wrong, I'm not that religious, but I believe in God. So for me, my advice to the youth would be consistency in what you do, be focused. If you're going to school, make sure you pay attention. If you're a craftsman, if you're a footballer, if you're a carpenter, make sure you do it properly. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. That helps. A man's best servant is himself. And as it is, as a country, we know this is a very difficult period. We've been struck by Ebola. Now it's COVID-19. A lot of things have happened. A lot of things have happened, and generically, it has to do with how we interact with ourselves, how we inspire ourselves, the type of friendship we keep, the type of discourse we have. So these are very important, and I'll draw reference to recently what the government has done in terms of helping youths. There's a new policy, a new youth policy that looks at key areas. It looks at access, creating access. We are all equal, inclusivity, and the impact. These are the three foundations of the youth policy developed by the Honorable Minister of Youth. I was privileged to have perused that document. So these are some of the things: inclusivity, impact. What impact would you like to see within your community, within the country as a whole? So for me, I live in a very reserved area. Whenever I have the time to engage with young boys or girls, I tell them, listen, it's not rocket science, or it's not by magic. It's hard work, commitment, dedication. Make yourself relevant, capacitate yourself. So for me, these are the foundation, these are the things that I prioritize as an individual.
Thank you very much, Arun. I've been shaking my head like for a while now, and all what you said, I agree. And there's one key word there: consistency. And people don't know how you should be consistent. Okay, it comes with self-discipline as well. Okay, when you're self-disciplined, it makes it easy for you to be
Selfish.
consistent. Yes, you know that this is your niche and this is thing that you have to like work to, and life is all about challenges. Now, I won't talk about challenges. You and I know the world is full of distractions. Okay, and you are the public secretary for the Humanora Foundation. Okay, and you are a public servant as well for the justice sector.
Sector Coordination Office.
Okay, now I want to really know because these are things that people struggle with the multitasking. Okay, you are doing it with ease. I know it's hard work and I know you're being consistent, but how do you get it through? Like during the week, months, year, and doing one thing for Humanora Foundation, and then you're working in a 9 to 5 thing. So how do you get it done?
That's a very important question, Timbo. Um, let me give you a very practical example. So before giving you an example, let me talk about multitasking. Um, Multitasking simply means doing so many things at once. And as you've clearly mentioned, I am the coordinator, communications coordinator for the JSCO. I also hold a position within Humanora Foundation, which is a non-charitable organization. And apart from that, I have my social life as well. I'll give you a very practical example of what happened today. Normally, for me, I get to the office very early, 7 o'clock, around quarter past 7. I'm at the office. I start very early. For me, that's when I think. That's when my mind or my brain works. So I get things done easily, simultaneously together. So basically, what happened today was I knew I had this session, but I have a very young and agile, smart boss by the name of Mr. Koji. So up until 4:30 this afternoon, while I'm thinking, oh, I need to wrap up. I have a live session with ABT today. And then he called me in his office and he said to me, "Oh, Harun, we need to do a press release. It's quite urgent. We need to do it because the government has been engaged in the Universal Periodic Review. Basically, it's a human rights issue." So this was about 4:30 today. Timo, I had to stay in the office until 6:30. Whilst I was doing the press release, I was also getting my head around the fact that I need to prepare myself for ABT. I'm not sure what Timbo is going to ask, so I need to be on my toes. So I was working simultaneously, prioritizing. That is very important. And then that brings us back to Humanora Foundation, which is very important as well, because we'll talk about that later, as you clearly highlighted. But for me, prioritizing is very, very key. Multitasking saves you time in as much as it has to do with the brain. The brain is the key. But for me, I have done that for the longest of time. So it comes naturally now. I'll be working on my laptop and I'll be on my phone because you know how it works nowadays. When you say a communications coordinator, it does not necessarily mean you have to write press releases for the newspaper. You have to engage in social media as well. It's a two-track approach. So I type on my laptop, and then I work from my phone to engage. As I'm talking to you, we're currently planning a meeting. Whilst I'm with you, my boss has just sent me the agenda for tomorrow's meeting that I need to do the silent reflection. So it comes naturally now. I've been doing that for the past 5 years. So it's a lot of focus, commitment. But Timbo, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean I do not socialize. I do. I do. I'm a football fan. I love football. I play football every other week. So for me, that's how it's part of my life. Multitasking. We live in a very fast world, Timbo. It evolves. You need to keep up. You cannot say, I'm waiting to get this done before I move to the next. No, we work simultaneously. Things need to get done. We're living in it's a fast moving train. It waits for no one. So that's how I see myself, and that's how my life is. So multitasking is part of my daily routine. And I don't
I
sleep
love
that much. I don't sleep that much, Timbo. That's the honest truth. I'll talk to you till 12 and then I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. That's how my body
that's
works.
inspiring. That's inspiring. I'll give it to you. That's inspiring, you know. And one thing I would like to say is this: the way you're confident in talking about you being multitasking is so adorable. Honestly speaking, okay. Now let's take some. There are a few comments here, and Mohammed from Ebu said the conversation is good. It's a good one. That's good. Then said it's inspiring hearing this from you. It's the guest, and that's you. Okay. And it goes on to say, you can read. I personally can confirm that multitasking is comforting, Mr. Sheriff. So they're like people like out there agreeing, and now I'm gonna jump to something very special to me as well because I'm part of the Humanora Foundation, and and it's a unique non-profit organization. Now, people have known Humanora, those who have like gone through the Fabric system, they have known Humanora for certain things like being through the just enjoying life, just having these social events and just living this life. Okay. Now we have the foundation. What does it entail?
Thank you very much, Thibaut, for that question. What I'll endeavor to do first is just basically give a brief background of Humanora. It was formed in 1968 by a group of students at Frabe College. And basically, as you rightly mentioned, Humanora is basically known um, for its enjoyment purpose, if I should say. Permit me to say that. It's no secret. It's no secret. Once you say I'm a member of Humanora, then people will say, ah, they are an enjoyer, then that's also enjoyment. But I think what we've decided to do as past members of Humanora Foundation, of Humanora, is to set up Humanora Foundation. Humanora Foundation basically is a non-charitable organization that wants to give back to society. What do I mean want to give back to society? We have graduated. Some of us are blessed with good jobs. Some of us can look after ourselves, and we think it's a paradigm shift from that aspect of enjoyment to giving back to society. So we've come together as a unit, very strong, and have decided to engage in charitable activities within and outside Sierra Leone. We've made tremendous contributions towards society. Going back to 2014, when we were struck with the Ebola, we made several donations across the country to help people that were suffering by then. We were all suffering, but we said to ourselves, let us galvanize, let us come together, let us mobilize resources. Because as I said, it's a non-profitable institution. We dip from our own pockets and contribute towards national development, if I should say. So we've started that since 2014, and by then we had an executive, the very first executive headed by no other person than the great Grand Chief. We can normally call him Chief Otex. Um, he had his executive deputized by no other person, Alfred Akibo Betts. We had the Secretary General, um, Chief Oblast. That's how people know him. But he's called Mohammed Bangura. Most people don't know that name. We had a cross section of young, hardworking professionals within the foundation. And as recent as the COVID-19 pandemic, we've made tremendous contribution. We contributed towards helping people that were struck by COVID. We made a presentation at the 34 hospital, providing the necessary items to people that were hospitalized. And also, we consider education very key. We've aligned what we do to the flagship projects of the country, and that is education. We've we've helped schools not only in Freetown but also in the provinces in Bo, Kenema, Kono, and also in Freetown, because the flagship project is education. So we've provided teaching and learning materials to students, and we consider it we consider it a humanitarian gesture, Timbo. And quite recently, we've had our elections, and we've had a fairly new executive, and we have beautiful plans. Permit me to just name a few members of the executive, the current executive. We have Mohammed Bangura, who is Chief Oblast, commonly called the Chief Oblast. He's the Grand Chief. He's steering the ship. He's leading the foundation for now. We have Moy Lamina Benti Kamara. He's the Vice Grand Chief. We have Anrite Thompson. He's the Secretary General. He's a lawyer. We have the organizing secretary, who is Patrick Lavalley, is a chief engineer. And you have my humble self, the PRO. So for us, we consider this as a way of giving back to society. We want to change the narrative. When we talk about Humanora, yes, we like enjoyment, but it doesn't stop at enjoyment, Timbo. And I'll tell you, with this new executive, we have beautiful plans. I'll only whet your appetite. Look out for us. We're coming in December. And we're going to do big things with the leadership and with the executive and with the entire membership. We're going to do big things. And we've started, we've hit the ground running, and there's no turning back. So that's just an insight to the Humanora Foundation. I know you're excited. We have beautiful plans, Timbo, and not only for Humanora members, but for Sierra Leone as a whole. And not only Freetown, because Freetown is not Sierra Leone. We're taking it to the provinces. And we'll do more. And there are more plans to come.
Thank you very much. And that's an insight one. Now I know that you're a communication guy because if I give you like 2 minutes to say something, you have a way of like twisting it and make it sound so beautiful. It will take you like 5 or 6 minutes. But that's good. That's good. Now I won't. You've talked about Humanora Foundation and you talk about your work as well and what you're doing at the side. Now, with regards to the youth, okay, how can they, with all these things that you just said on this program today, how can they change their own narrative? How can they create their own narrative and make it stick and work with your idea? Because we are living in Sierra Leone, we are living through difficult times now with the COVID and everything. Okay, people the youth are struggling. Okay, they struggle as in every day. It's not like before when like probably you have like a meal, 2 meal per day, but now people living to have the only meal. It's a struggle. So for me, I feel for them. So we can say all what we want to say, and if you want to like move out of your comfort zone and make things happen for yourself, you have to treat yourself first. You have to be healthy. You have to do the necessary thing. You have to like consume the right food in your system. So with those challenges I want, how can you motivate the youth? Like this is probably the last question. Okay, how can you motivate the youth? What can you say to them to give them hope? Like, okay, it's hard, but it's gonna be okay in the future. Something like that.
Thank you, Timbo. As I said earlier, I'd like to start with this. If I can do it, if Harun can do it, why can't you do it? Why can't you do it? People will say, "Oh, well, maybe you're from a very humble background." I would not like to say I am from a very okay family, but things were okay. But at the end of the day, there were times that I thought that I couldn't live without my dad. May his soul rest in peace. He died 8 years ago.
I mean,
I thought to myself, I couldn't live without him. But here I am today. And not only me, I have siblings, I have brothers, I have sisters. And we're doing relatively okay. So for me, I always say to myself, if I can do it, you can do it. The motivation comes from your inner self, the confidence, your inner self, Timbo. Be true to yourself. In whatever way, we can all make that little change. We can all make that little change. If you're a mechanic, if you're a plumber, if you're a tiler, regardless of what you do, there are no boundaries, there are no limitations. We create limitations for ourselves. Be selfless, inspire yourself. As Michelle Obama said, show confidence, show the fortitude, believe in what you do. You can make that change. I have quite a few young people that are looking up to me. I tell them sometimes I sit down to myself and say, I am thankful to God. I am grateful to God for the provisions. But with all humility, I am working hard and I'll continue to work hard. It's almost it's almost 10 o'clock. I have another meeting tomorrow, but I'm not going to bed. I have to prepare. I have to prepare. So the take home message would be wherever you are, if you're listening to me, just know that there are no boundaries. It's never too late. It's never too late. We've seen people achieving great things in their 50s, in their 60s. Just believe in yourself. Confidence, fortitude, resilience. These are the foundation backed by hard work. Don't get me wrong, I believe in luck, but luck comes with hard work. Luck comes with hard work. If you don't work hard, forget it. If you are in the field of education, make sure you study hard. I think it would be a miss if I failed to mention this, Timbo. It would be a miss. I grew up in a family that prioritized education. My dad was a staunch believer of education. He had many houses. Well, relatively, he was okay. But he keep saying to me, we have a usual chats in the morning. He's a fond lover of Koreas. That's where we talk in the morning.
For
He
the
would say
for
to
the
me,
viewers out there, how for the viewers, what is correct? You have to like mention it, like say the
these
English
are
word,
this, oh, should I say sleepover food, rice and sauce?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I think
yeah,
that
yeah.
could be the best. That could be the best definition. For us, that's where we catch up. He would say to me, Harun, listen to me. I have done my bit in life. I have made a name for myself. You have to step up. You have to focus on your education. And I'll tell you, Timbo, I'll tell you, based on the question you asked for motivation, we are very competitive as a family. My siblings, we're very competitive. All walks of life. I have my brothers, my older brother, he's into the field of procurement. I have my sisters, they're in the UK. You understand? My other sister is working for Coca-Cola. I have my brother, he works for Maristope, he's in the UK. It's a healthy competition because we were brought up in a family that prioritized education. So for us, that's what we believe in. Don't get me wrong, I believe in side hustling to do business, but for me, the priority has been education. But however, Timbo, education is not the only means of attaining success. I'll also borrow some wordings from Jack Ma. He said, if you give a monkey a banana and coins or money, the monkey would take the banana, leaving the money, not knowing that the money would buy a lot more bananas. So we live in a world that is very competitive. We live in a world that is that is it's a fast-paced environment. So I want to crave the indulgence of all listening to me. Please, whatever you do, take it seriously. Show confidence, fortitude, resilience, hard work, and most importantly, Timbo, commit it to the Almighty for His guidance and direction. So that would be my key message or messages to the youth listening to this program.
I want to thank you very much. And viewers, there you have it. Like I told you on my post, Aaron is a very talented guy, and for me, his talent is a top-notch one. And I'm so happy to have him here today. But I won't. This is just a short one. Where can people find you? How can you find you if they want to you and have this motivational tips or this mentorship tips for them to like go through their challenges? Where could they find you?
People, I'm on Facebook, Harun Sharif. I'm on Instagram, Harun Sharif. I'm on LinkedIn, Harun Sharif. No nicknames. I use Harun Sharif. And my office is at Special Court, Block 14, Justice Sector Coordination Office. You can reach me whenever. I'm open for discussions. Uh, I'm willing to learn also. I learn every day. So I'm open for further discussions, deliberations, and suggestions in terms of changing the narratives within Sierra Leone.
Thank you very much, Awon. It's a pity we have to bring down the curtains because it's time is upon us. But again, I would like to have you again on the season two, which is we're working on, and it's around the corner because season one we are almost like wrapping up. Season two is gonna be like broad aspect of what I've been doing on season one, and I hope you honor the invitation if you call upon.
Yes, thank you, Timbo. I think I consider this an honor, a privilege to be part of your program, and I'm looking forward to more fruitful deliberations in the not too distant future.
Thank you very much. And to the viewers out there, it has been a wonderful session. Thank you guys for the likes and the love, reactions, and the comments. Okay. And before I go, let me just talk about this comment from Dauda, who says that a quote I will take home will be the motivation comes from within. Yes. Thank you very much for that one. So, on that note, thank you everyone. And Mr. Arun Sharif, it was a pleasure.
Have a good evening, Timbo. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care.